All right, let's bring everybody out. I don't know who else is going to come up here. Ryan, John, Anthony, Becky. Who else we got? Who else is even in here at this point? Did everybody just leave? Chelsea, Benny. Who else? All right, I'm going to hand this off. Anthony, get over here. Or John, here, take that. You're going to have to pass around the mic. Come on, get closer. Let's get in the light. Come on, you goofballs. All right, now what do you have to say for yourselves? All right, here we go. All right, so I guess before, should we run down the line and explain who each of you are? John, you want to start?
Sure, my name's John Carsko. I was the co-writer and producer on it.
I'm Anthony Cousins. I co-wrote, produced, and directed.
Jason Thomas, production design.
My name is Ryan Shadley, and I worked on the creature effects and the special makeup.
My name is Becky Ingram, and I worked on the creature as well as the special makeup effects. I acted in it, and also some of my art is featured in it.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Grant, and I played Amy.
And my name is Benny, and I played Scotty.
And I'm Nathan Timosher. I played Dallas Kyle.
I was going to say, are you still as Dallas Kyle, hiding backstage? I guess first off, like found footage. Why are you a huge fan of found footage, Anthony, or like the rest of you? Like, was it a budgetary reason, or what was the impetus that you decided to go down this rabbit hole of chaos for the last 4 years?
All of the above. I do love found footage, maybe more than most, and I think you do now too. If you did it before,
You come around on it for 4 years of trauma.
Yeah. He's got a trauma bond with found footage.
Was there a specific film or something that that you drew main influence for this, or?
I'd say Willow Creek and Digging Up the Merrill were the two big influences, and then we went back to Blair Witch consistently. It's what is this supposed to be? Like, that's the movie that is what is found footage supposed to feel like?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, knowing you everything you shoot is just absolutely gorgeous. Like, you have a great eye. What then? Did you go and shooting did you actually shoot on DV cameras, or did you downgrade footage? Like, how did you get the effects and look, and then all the artifacting, was that all completely fabricated, or did that some of that happy accidents?
So we really did shoot probably, I'd say 60-70% of this movie on a high-8 camera. And it's a high-8 camera that my dad used to bring on family trips. And I didn't even know if we still had it or not until a couple days before we started shooting. And I found it in a closet, and I was like, oh my God, we can use this. I was gonna order one off eBay for $40. And we shot this movie, I recorded over our family trips. And then we did shoot, that camera just couldn't handle night shots. It couldn't handle the dark. Yeah. So we shot that on Blackmagic, but then transferred that 6K footage to a high-8 tape, and then transferred that high-8 tape back to digital, so that you can watch it like this. And while it was transferring, I kind of slapped the camera a lot to get the artifacting. We tried some digital artifacting, and it just felt fake every time. We tried a few different ways, and I was like, God, this just doesn't feel right. And then I realized I could just destroy this tape while it transfers.
That's amazing. Yeah. I guess from a writing perspective to the acting perspective, how much of this was scripted? How much of it was ad-libbed? What did you allow the actors to run wild with? And then what were you kind of was there specific story beats that you were trying to make them hit?
John, you want to talk about that?
Sure. Well, you wanted it to be pretty mixture of both. Definitely open ad-libbing. And we had a full script that we ended up throwing out, sort of, 50% of it, and we rewrote it because we realized the direction of the original script it wasn't working. So we came to the hard decision that we paused and we rewrote it, and I think for the better. And I know Nate loves to talk about improvising, so.
Yeah, let's say pass it down. Because I'm also interested, your characters, was that just totally on the fly? You guys sort of kind of made it up as you went, or was it was a lot of that in the script?
Yeah, there was an outline, I would say. And this, I was afraid of doing that because I'm not like an improv comedian necessarily. But what brings it out of me is tremendous actors like these two. And they made me better. And we got some magic there. That was kind of unexpected. And then as we went along, it got even better.
So I guess Chelsea was like your persona in the film. Was that something that you were told, or is that something like you guys found that outfit and you kind of just like made it up as you were going? Or like how did that
Norma
come
was
about?
written. She's very cool, but they let me have a lot of artistic choice. And I remember asking Anthony and Carsco right before the shoot, and I was asking him about what Norma's wardrobe was, very similar to the movie, and I asked them if I could do it. So it is reused denim with a lot of tassels and dollar store rhinestones, and we implanted it in the vintage shop. But like the character was developed, some of her cute little taglines absolutely developed, but they let me, really play with it, which is super fun.
Did a lot of that stuff kind of like over? I mean, how much of it were you reworking over the 4 years? Like, was that sort of from the very beginning? Was that stuff there, and then you just sort of kept shooting more and more of it to get to kind of figure out how much footage you could whittle it down to?
Yeah, Norma is in since the beginning, but I'll let you guys elaborate.
Yeah, actually, Norma has probably stayed the most consistent. And Benny, or Scotty, has like been the most consistent. Dallas is pretty much what he's always been, but like one of the earlier scripts, like he diverged on kind of this Indiana Jones like quest to like save. We kept thinking he had to save somebody. And so he like got off track of like just being obsessed with Frogman. He was like, no, we gotta go in those caves to save Woody or save George or save whoever. And it's like, he doesn't care about anybody. Like he just cares about proving that he's right, that Frogman exists. Like that's why he goes in the caves.
Yeah, that's his entire goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess speaking of the caves, like, was that all just found locations? Did you guys dress it up to like make it look that way? Like, was it all just stuff you just knew about already, or like how did that come to be?
This is my favorite story. So, well, the simple part of this is like we shot in the Wabasha caves for the big like cult scene.
Yeah.
That worked great for that, but it didn't, like that whole place is like finished and like cement floors, so like it doesn't feel like a cave. And I kind of gave up on finding a cave. We could not find a cave in town to save our lives. And me and my partner who helped produce this, we were like, we just need a break. Like, let's just not think about Frogman for a weekend. Let's go, like, let's rent an Airbnb in like near town and just chill. And we found an Airbnb in Jordan on Airbnb, and there's all these caves, or these pictures of these gorgeous, unfinished, wet, muddy caves on this Airbnb listing. And we're like, what is going on? And we messaged her and she's like, yeah, I've got an Airbnb and underneath is this cave system and it's like pretty cool. So I let people like hang out in it. And we're like, can we shoot there? So we gave up on finding a cave and that's when we found the one that we shot in.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I say it definitely adds a production value. I was like, where did you just like stumble across that, or did you know somebody who had caves in their backyard? I guess so. Then the frog design for Ryan and Becky, like, was there specific directions that Anthony gave you, or did you guys design that with a specific actor in mind? Because there's three people credited as the Frogman. Did you have to modify it to fit different people?
No, they modified their bodies for us too. Well, my biggest thing was I always envisioned it like a Sasquatch, like a big hulking creature, and like, no, a little smaller, like. So I was like, I'll play Frogman, I'll do it, but yeah, he wanted smaller and more nimble, maybe agile, and so that was the main thing. And then we're like, well, is this too toady or is this froggy enough for the face? Like, should it be, an inherent scary face or, just kind of neutral and yeah.
I'm assuming
about it, color scheme, but it's like, the usual.
Yeah, I'm assuming the budget only took, well, it was like you probably only had enough money for like
Oh, yeah.
one
There's
single
one
suit.
suit, yeah.
But was there different pieces, like parts of it? Like, you were able to like, kind of like swap out for different things? I'm also curious about the tongue. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, that was in there the whole time. That was wild. I don't know how
The
that
actor
happened.
brought that.
Yeah. Let's see. The suit was fabricated, and the head, hands, and feet were sculpted and molded. So, like, if, for example, running around the woods, we could take the feet off and put tennis shoes on. And the head came off, and it was pretty easy, I think. I don't know, is Jason in here?
I think he's
Allie,
the other- he's in the
any-
other-
but I maybe sing a different song, like, "Sword," And the tongue was just fabricated, yeah, and just, yeah.
That's amazing. I guess the other is the last question I have before we maybe open it up for the audience. The Frogman legend, was this something that you guys were obsessed with for a while, or is this something that just came to you? Like at one point, like somebody told you about it? Like is it something you've known about for a long time? Are you just a fan of cryptids in general, and that one just stood out? Like where did your obsession and how much research did you go into about the Loveland Frogman?
Definitely a fan of cryptids, although I didn't know about this one until we were shooting a short film of John's that he was directing and Nate was starring in. And it took place in like a coast-to-coast radio station. And one of the things John bought to decorate was like this map of the US with a cryptid in each state. And there was Frogman in Ohio. At least this is how I remember it. I've told this story so many times and I'm like, did this even happen? Like I feel like I like made it up. But yeah, because then Nate started, like he looked up the Frogman chant, which we thought was connected, but then ended up being like an army thing. And we're like, what does this have to do with this creature? But we were just cracking up on set, like researching this thing in real time. And at some point we thought, oh, it'd be really cool if Nate just went out into the woods with the camera to find this thing. And that's where it really all started.
And then I guess Frog Lord's a real band, I'm assuming?
Frog Lord is a real band. Yeah, I have an obsession with frogs in general, not just Frogman. And people send me frog stuff all the time. And someone sent me Frog Lord, and it's great. It's really good music if you like doom metal. And so I just messaged him and I was like, hey dude, we're making a movie about Frogman. I don't know if you know about Frogman, but like, would you want to can we use some of your songs? And like my dream was that he would do a song for us, but I was too scared to ask. But he's like, yeah dude, what songs do you want to use? You can use as many as you want. Like, do you need a new song for the movie? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So he did that song you heard at the end there.
Are they based in the U.S. or are they based like from Ohio? Are they big Frogman fans?
He's in the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we just decided to print some vinyl.
Oh, really?
With the Frog Lord song and the chant, the Frogman chant, 7 inches. So
That's awesome.
those are coming soon.
I mean, you got the whole merch spread out there. You're more coming, huh?
Yeah. Well, this is the kind of shit that I buy when I like movies. So I thought I'm just gonna make it like I want it for myself. Hopefully other people do.
All right. Well, does anybody out there in the audience have any questions about about Frogman or any observations that you want to chime in and see if these clowns want to answer your question?
Is there a Frogman 2 in the works?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we put that Frogman Returns as a joke because apparently you can just put that at the end of anything these days. But there seems to be enough excitement that Rotting Press, the production company, is they want us to be ready to do that. So we've got ideas for sure.
What was the casting process like for extras and for the lead cast?
We really wrote the script for these three. Because we had worked with them in the past and knew them. So, I mean, honestly, I think that's why this works as well as it does, at least in our eyes, because like we know them, like we wrote it for them. We didn't write characters that like they wouldn't be able to portray necessarily or like would be out of their wheelhouse. So I think that's why the authenticity works so well. And then extras, I mean, every time we needed extras, we just would put out a call on social media, like all hands on deck, and we'd end up with like just enough.
Right over here.
What was the plan with the ending at the Parkway Theater? Because I was there for the extra shoot, and the ending of this movie is a little different. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want it, because you mentioned the script got rewritten. So
Yeah,
curious
we'll
if
talk
you share
about
what
it.
the plan was.
So I considered putting that, because we cut it and we tried it, and it was crazy. And it was like, what in the hell, what were we thinking? And so I put it on the DVD originally, the Blu-ray originally, and I was like, I don't know if we can. This is horrifying. Okay. So originally, Dallas did go into the Parkway after being called on stage by Tim. And then Jeremy J shows up, the YouTuber, and he's like, "This is still bullshit. You're full of it. Like who do you think you are? Like trying to pull this over our eyes." And then Dallas brings George out on stage, and George has the tadpole baby. And he's like, "You think this is all fake? Check out my grandson." And the baby pukes on Jeremy J's face and melts his face off.
Nice. It was a cool effect.
It was a great effect. It went exactly as planned. It was super fun. Within the movie, it was just like, what? Like all of this happened, and this is where we're gonna go with things. And then like, it was really hard to be like, God, do we just end in the lobby? But it really felt like after everything that Dallas has done, like he's like unraveled his life in service of this obsession. He's like lost his friends. It's like this should probably end with him having completed his task successfully. He's gotten this movie out there, people seem to like it, and he's just like, God, what the fuck have I done? So it's like, I think that's where the story ends.
Is the alternate ending on the Blu-ray, or is there additional footage and stuff on there?
You can catch pieces of it. John and I talk about like all of the paths not taken on the Blu-ray, and we put clips in there because like it was just too painful to watch them in their entirety.
Any other questions from anybody out there? If you're...
Yeah, have you tried to generate any hype in Ohio where this myth actually exists? Like, have you targeted any advertising or?
I'm not good at that stuff, but there is a Frogman festival that's just having its second year in 2 weeks, and they invited us to screen there. So we're gonna go there and do a screening, and I've never been to Loveland, so I'm still not convinced it's not a trap, but they seem to be excited.
Till they see it.
Right. Yeah, do you think that they're gonna be offended by it?
Well, that's the thing. We did research, and it was like, they don't embrace Frogman. They don't, like there's people in town that don't even know of his existence, or like the legend. So I was like, well, there doesn't seem to be like a whole lot of fandom or like, like purists, to make happy, or that are gonna like, pick this apart. And then this festival started after we had shot. I was like, oh shit, people do care.
Well, you got a message from the guy, the original Frogman.
Oh my God, yeah.
His son or grandson?
Yeah, there's been a few sightings, and one of them was a sheriff that saw Frogman and shot him. And then it turned out to be like a large iguana without a tail that escaped, like a pet iguana. But so his son, this was like back in the 60s or 70s, but his son messaged me on Facebook. And he's like, dude, I saw the trailer, this looks really cool. My dad shot, the Frogman.
Yeah. So you have at least one fan that's waiting for you there.
And he's gonna be there, so I cannot wait to meet that guy.
So you're
a lot of questions.
You're gonna get your whole script for part 2 written by just chatting with that guy.
Yeah.
I did read that like at one point there was a sighting recently where kids were like looking for Pokemon Go and they came across the Frogman or something.
Mm-hmm. It was a great photo that they captured, and it's like, maybe it's just a frog. I don't know, but I believe.
That's amazing. All right, any other questions before we? Oh, right over here.
I assume you guys watched a lot of different found footage during your research. Were there any tropes that you saw that you agreed we will not do this type of thing?
You start.
I remember we watched Willow Creek and Digging Up the Marrow. Like we did like a double feature one night before we started writing. Did we watch anything else? I watched Blair Witch a lot. Tropes. I mean, it was like really important to us that like there was always a reason the camera kept rolling. And like we definitely stretched that a couple times where it's like these long scenes, but even then it was like, oh, like Scotty's trying to get the tea, you know, he's like rolling in the back of the seat. And yeah, just trying to like keep it feeling as authentic as possible, and like trying to make characters that you care about and like remember, because like there's found footage movies that I love that I think are great, and I still could not tell you like what the characters are in them, you know, or like, you know, so that was something we really wanted to try to do.
Well, I think to the authenticity, it was a big, like when we were shooting it, it was really important for you to be like, no, it shouldn't be perfect. And I'm thinking in my head like, oh, that shot, like it's not the frame is wrong or it looks weird. And it's like, no, it's because they wouldn't be right. And so that was a big thing that we definitely, as we were filming it, Anthony kept in mind, was just like that authenticity of like, this is a found footage movie. It's not, you know, traditional narrative. So shots that you would normally, you know, frame up to look nice, we were like trying to do the opposite of that. So, and I think that helps the movie tremendously.
Yeah. Right here.
In the many sequels you will make to Frogman, what other cryptids will you feature? It'll be Frogman versus who?
Oh my God. Well, I know Nate knows. The Rat Man.
Were they a frog or a rat?
Yeah.
We're gonna explore that. That was
And then, if anyone's familiar with the Fresno Nightcrawler, that is the one I really want to do. I want to see Nate just chase a phantom pair of pants through the woods. I think that'd be really fun. You just revealed to me that like you shouldn't use Mothman because you get sued, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Mothman's like copywritten by somebody, which blows my mind.
So you just gotta be careful.
So we're probably not doing Mothman unless we can make a deal with whoever that is.
Just Phantom Pants.
Phantom Pants, yeah. Right over here.
I'm just curious, like, from an actor's perspective, how is it to be a real person instead of like, you know, a full-fledged movie you're playing you're playing characters that are supposed to be, you know, real within the story. Is it different for you doing that as opposed to just like normal, you know, staged film type of thing?
Yeah, I guess Chelsea and Nate and I didn't know each other before we started filming this. So it felt kind of like we were getting to know each other in real time when the camera wasn't rolling, and then just kind of putting our best foot forward with authenticity of who we actually were. And they gave us so much time and creativity to just kind of play around. And I don't know, did that answer your question?
I don't know, I just was curious because you have to play a character, but you have to be more real. It's like there's like more like and whatever, you know, there's just like a reality to the character that I feel like you have to put into it to have it be believable as a found footage type of thing, you know? You're acting, but you're not trying to be like polished actors or something, you know, so.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird line to dance as an actor, but there are times, like when I watched the movie just now, I was like, that didn't seem realistic. From me, not from you too, but you know, like you try your best.
Well, I think that's what partially I was asking about, like if it was like a lot of it was ad-lib because it did feel so genuine. Like some of the dialogue felt so natural, and like it sort of felt like conversations you're just sort of watching.
I think for found footage, it's a nice contrast of when you're trying to find authenticity in a character, when you've got a storyline that's just very gritty and you have those but the difference is with found footage, you are striking a lens, everyone's aware, you can look into the camera's a person, and so a lot of times it would be like Anthony sometimes on camera and Benny just right on the side, and sometimes it would be Benny, or you see us hold the camera as well. So I think there's an automatic looseness, and it's about trailing the line of, okay, we have the dialogue, we have our ad-lib marks that we want to hit emotionally, And then you play the game of reining in to shorten things and then elongating to make sure we're being authentic and finding it. And so it's just like essentially checking in with writer-director, just like, hey, buds, this is the movie we want to make, yeah. So it is different on found footage, for sure, in the most beautiful way, but it also feels very, there's a different type of adrenaline scaredness, I feel like, with found footage because of the nature of breaking a lot of typical rules as an actor that you just follow, like not looking into the lens. So yeah.
All right, any other questions? Otherwise, we could probably wrap this up and move on to the next auditorium. Well, oh, right here, one more.